Greetings gastronauts, this is KeefCooks, I'm Keef, and today I'm going to do something that's going to take you right back to your school dinner days, if you were at school before like 1980. I'm going to make Manchester Tart. First thing to do is make the pastry, unless you're cheating and using ready-made pastry. I've got 250 grams of plain all-purpose flour, 125 grams of cold unsalted butter cut into chunks, 50 grams of sugar, an egg yolk and a tablespoon of water, cold water. So the sugar, you can use caster sugar, icing sugar, powdered sugar, confectioner sugar, any kind of sugar as long as it's not granulated, because that would be too grainy and crunchy. Okay, so using my magic stand mixer, you just put the flour and the sugar in there, and I'll just give those a quick beating just to mix those together. And then we'll add the butter. So if you were doing this by hand, you would just rub it in with your fingertips until you got a mixture that looks like fine breadcrumbs. Right, that's looking pretty good. Whoops. So now I'll just add the tablespoon of water and the egg yolk and mix those in. And when it's come together almost into a ball, we'll just take that out and clump it together. So here's our ball of dough, and what you want to do now is just wrap it in plastic film. Stick that in the fridge to rest for maybe half an hour. Right, there's my pastry, my dough, nicely rested. Now I've got a sort of flan tin with a removable bottom, and that's 24 centimetre diameter, about 9 inches. I've buttered the inside because I don't ever trust non-stick coatings. And what we're going to do is blind bake it. So I've got this rice that I use to weight down the dough. You could also use dried beans or, you know, whatever you've got. So now we want to roll out the pastry. So you want a nice sprinkling of flour on your worktop and on your rolling pin. And you want to get your oven preheating to 160 degrees Celsius if it's a fan oven, convection oven, or 180 Celsius if it's a conventional one, or gas mark 4. And we want to roll out the pastry into a nice thin disc that's quite a bit larger than the tin. Okay, I think that'll do. Yeah, that's plenty bigger. So just kind of drape this around your rolling pin and then unroll it into the baking tin. Get yourself a bit of spare pastry and use that to press the disc right into the edges. And doing it this way avoids you tearing it with your fingernails. Right, so just loosely trim off the excess, and then get some greaseproof paper, parchment paper, scrunch it up. I actually keep this with my rice. I reuse both of them over and over again because I'm a cheapskate and proud of it. And so line your pastry with that. No, I forgot a step. You want to prick the bottom all over with a fork, and that stops it puffing up while it bakes. Now line it with the paper and the rice. And that goes in the oven initially for 10 minutes. Okay, that's been 10 minutes. So let's get this out. Whew. And you need to remove your beans or your rice. Try not to spill them all over the place. And then pop that in for another 10 to 15 minutes. Okay, time's up. And our crust is beautifully baked. Yeah. So that actually took 15 minutes. Wasn't quite ready after 10. So what you need to do now is just put that aside, let it cool down, and we'll get on with making the filling. So I mentioned school dinners earlier on, and Manchester Tart was always featured at least once a week. I never actually knew what it was called. It was that pie with jam and set custard and coconut on top, and quite often sliced bananas concealed inside, which I wasn't keen on. But yeah, it's very nostalgic, this. The history of it is a little bit vague. Nobody really seems to know why it's called Manchester Tart. It first appeared in print in Mrs. Beeton's cookbook as Manchester pudding, and I'm pretty sure that the custard made in the school versions of this would have been instant, probably made by birds, and that's cool. You know, it's just a lot easier than messing about with eggs. And so Bird's instant custard was invented in 1837 by Alfred Bird, who was a pharmacist working in Birmingham, and he did it because his wife couldn't tolerate eggs, but they loved custard. So eggless custard was born, and became very popular, and probably made Mr. Bird an awful lot of money. So that's a good thing for him. Anyway, good thing for us as well, because it's easy to make. So let's do it. Right, ingredients for the filling and topping. I've got 1 litre of milk, 60 grams of custard powder, and 80 grams of granulated sugar for the custard. And then also you'll need a couple of tablespoons of raspberry jam, a sprinkling of desiccated coconut, I won't use all that, and optionally some glacé cherries. That's just basically for decoration. I think it looks better than just a custard tart with a load of desiccated coconut on it. That's just me. Also, another option is sliced banana on top of the jam underneath the custard. I personally can't stand that, but they used to do it at my school quite a lot. And I used to pick the banana slices out. Hey ho. So first of all, you need to make up a paste of the custard powder and sugar and some of the milk. So actually you want about the same volume of milk as you had custard powder. I don't know why the powder looks pink and then turns yellow when you add liquid, but that's what happens. So stir that, get all the lumps out, get a nice smooth paste. Now we need to heat the remaining milk to almost boiling. So put it in a heavy bottom pan and put it on medium heat. And watch it like a hawk, because you do not want this to boil or burn. Okay, that's starting to bubble around the edges, so I reckon that's hot enough, and we'll just turn off the heat and pop this, pour this over the custard paste mix, stir that well, and then pop it back into the pan. Now you want that back on very low heat, and bring it to the boil, and then let it simmer for about 5 minutes till it thickens up. Okay, that's nice and thick and coats the back of the spoon, so that's done. Turn it off the heat. I'm going to put it back in the jug and let it cool down. Right, here we go. Just cover it with plastic film and stick it in the fridge. And you want that to cool down till it's still pourable, but cool enough to pour into the pastry shell. So this has been requested by a couple of people. The first one, Chrissy Wales, who requested it about 18 months ago, and I'm really sorry it took so long to get round to it. And you've been quiet lately, so I hope you're okay and everything's fine. And the other one, more recently, Sarah Noor. And I've got 3 shout outs to do. First one for Simon Templar. The second one is for Wayne Foskey, whose busy mate, DJ Technoid, has requested, well, has asked me to give Wayne a shout out because he doesn't get out much, but loves my channel, so hello Wayne, hope you enjoy this. And the third one for Andy T, who actually requested a bread pudding recipe, and I said I've done bread and butter pudding, and so I'm not likely to do bread pudding without butter, but yeah, shout out anyway, there you go. So I trimmed off the raggy edges of the pastry shell with a bread knife, and which is a bit tricky because it's kind of brittle. And now 2 or 3 tablespoons of raspberry jam in the bottom. Try and spread it evenly. And here's the custard, which is still a little bit warm, but also still well pourable. Ooh, look at that. And yeah, I've had a little taste and it's fabulous. So this is odd because I made a trial version yesterday using half the quantity of custard, and it well, it didn't set, and there wasn't anything like enough, so I made double quantity, and I'm only, well, using just over half of it. Let's see if I can squeeze a bit more in. Now we just want to sprinkle on some desiccated coconut. Okay, that's enough. And finally, the cherry on the cake. Actually, I think I'll let the custard set properly before I put the rest of them on, because yeah, it might be easier. So stick that in the fridge till it's set, which might take a couple of hours. Oh, look at that wobble. Right, there it is. Still pretty wobbly. It's been in the fridge for 4 hours, so I don't know if it'll set any further, but I mean, you know, I think that's probably set enough. It's such a long time since I had Manchester Tart. I can't remember if it's meant to be this wobbly or not. Anyway, let's put the rest of the cherries on. Maybe I should have put these on before, because they don't want to stick now. Yeah, they'll stick to the coconut. Now I'll cancel that. Right, let's get it out of the tin. See what we've got. Have a taste test. Okay. Looking good so far. I'm going to have to cut that cherry into 8 pieces, you realise this, don't you? Just to be fair. Oh, look at that. Oops. Right, here we are. Taste test time. Sadly, Mrs. KeefCooks won't be joining us until too late. So, yeah, I'll just have to do it on my own. It's a tragedy. You know, I was really worried about this wobble, but I actually think it's fine. In fact, I think it's perfect. It's better than perfect. It's sensational. Do you know what? I'm even thinking I should have put the bananas in, but even without, that was just. I don't use the phrase "to die for" because that seems like tempting fate, but it could be. Okay, Manchester Tart. If you liked it, give us a like, subscribe, make a donation, become a patron, all that good stuff. And thanks for watching, and see you next time.